Good afternoon, my name is Richard Locke and welcome to my channel, The Sales Management Expert. Today we're going to answer the question, what is the number one thing that will have the greatest impact on increasing sales in your business? Well, the answer to that question is that actually there's no right answer because it's very subjective. But in my opinion, having worked in sales and sales management in large and small businesses for over 30 years, I know categorically that the number one thing that will make the biggest difference to any business, large or small, is effective sales management. So what do I mean by effective sales management? Well, if you actually look online and look on Google and look at the word sales management, you'll get various definitions. But my definition is quite simple. It is the effective management of both assets and opportunities in your business. Someone once said to me that if the purpose of a business is to make a profit, and that profit comes from sales, then everything in the business needs to be geared towards making that sale. Now, you could argue, is that correct? But when you think about it, it is correct because any business is in existence to make a profit. And to make a profit, you have to generate sales. I want to make it quite clear that what I'm not talking about here is marketing. So this channel is not about marketing. We might touch on it from time to time, but it's essentially about sales management. It's also not about sales training. People seem to get muddled up between sales management and sales training. We're talking about the management of the assets and the opportunities. So the reason I've actually split it into two is because they are two different things. If you actually look at any business, the key assets of the business, in most businesses, are their people. And the management of the people in a business, in terms of sales and the sales management of those people, is critical. Over the coming weeks and months, we'll be looking at various things to do with management of people and sales management of people. And these will include things like one-to-ones, target setting, incentives, bonuses, performance management, managing underperformance. Also things like creating the right environment. Having the right sales environment is absolutely crucial to success. I'd now like to move on to the second part of the equation, which is management of the opportunities. So what do I mean by management of the opportunities, and what's the difference between managing the opportunities and managing the assets? Well, I accept there is some crossover, clearly there is, but in terms of my definition of managing the opportunities, and this particularly applies to small businesses, SMEs, maybe where you've got one or two people who actually have to do the doing themselves as opposed to the management, it would be things like managing your sales pipeline, managing leads. We'll also look at, over the next weeks and months, at things like the CRM. Do you have a CRM? How do you use it? I mean, a question I'd actually ask you now is, do you know for a fact how long it takes for your business to deal with a lead from receipt to making contact with that customer? I can tell you, I've got one of my businesses, I started working in the business over a year ago, and I was shocked actually to find that initially we spent a lot of money generating a lead using Google AdWords, but that lead wasn't dealt with sometimes for more than a day. It could be up to 2 days. That was crazy because those leads were costing us something in the region of £40. By delaying contacting the customer for a day meant that the conversion ratio dropped dramatically. We now have an SLA, a service level agreement, of 1 hour. And on my CRM, the system that I use, and I'll go through it with you, and I can show you in a later episode, I can now see, as a sales manager, exactly how quickly we take to go back to that lead. And I can also tell you that the conversion of those leads has increased dramatically. We'll also look at other things. For example, how many of you actually heard of an FBR, a Future Business Register? So these are the sort of things we'll be talking about, say, over the coming weeks and months. So to finish, I've got a little quiz for you. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and just see if you can, sitting here, answer these questions relating to your own business. So, first question is, do you know what your sales projection is for next week? So what are you expecting to get by way of sales next week? Second question, do you know what your sales projection is, your pipeline, sales pipeline, for sales next month? Now we could also, with that question, split it into further categories, and this is what I actually do. So when I actually ask for projections from my sales teams, I always ask them their projection for next month, but I also ask them at 90% and 50% certainty. The reason I do that is that 90% certainty, a sale is not a sale until you've actually got the order, but at 90%, unless something goes drastically wrong, you should get that order. So 90% should be almost certain sales, and 50% certainty should be sales that you think you're going to get, but you may not. So 90% and 50% certainty. Okay, looking at my list now. Okay, this may not apply to all of you, but if you've got sales teams, do you actually know how many appointments your salespeople have got in their diary for the next 3 days and the next 5 days? There is a reason I split it between 3 days and 5 days. Again, I'll go into this in more detail, but over the next 3 working days, so today is Saturday when I'm recording this video, so in terms of my next 3 working days, which will be Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I would expect my salespeople in my business to have at least 4 appointments, 4 booked appointments in the diary per day. So the target for the next 3 days would be 12. Over the next 5 days, I would expect them to have normally 50% of their target, their daily target, which would be 2 appointments, maybe 75%. The reason I differentiate between 3 days and 5 days is that if you haven't got a full diary in the next 3 working days, you have very little, if any, time to do something about it. Yes, you can do something about it, but I can tell you, as sure as eggs are eggs, if you don't have full diaries for the next 3 working days on a rolling basis, you are not going to maximise your sales opportunity. You will have salespeople who are not fully utilised. 5 days, you've got more time to do something about it. So again, knowing what your diary looks like, your activity looks like for the next 3 and 5 days is an absolute critical factor in sales management. So do you actually know that? Also, finally, the question I asked before, do you know what the time frame is for your business from receipt of a lead to contact? Would you actually know? Is it a day, 2 days, an hour? Again, a really useful piece of information. So I hope you find that useful, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.